What's up, everybody? This your boy Mario, and welcome back to another installment of my therapist made me do this podcast with Mario and friends. I'm of course Mario. Now, if you're watching this, uh, I switched things up a little bit. Tell me what y'all think about the background. I think it's a little brighter. I had to buy some lights because it was like I was hella black on one side. I don't know. Just makes the room a little livelier. Um, Plus, even though the world's greatest college football team and baseball team were formerly in the background, I feel like I just spruced it up a little bit. Plus, I'm like, man, all this money my wife paid for this wall, we gonna spruce it up a little bit. I think I like the backdrop. I like it. I do. I like it. But tell me what y'all think. Um, yeah, man. So switching things up a little bit, trying to feng shui my little game room a little bit, give it a little more life. I was in one of them modes, as the kids say lately. So man, got my guy, Raphael, got me a new chair. You know what I'm saying? So I had to switch to the red one. But got my guy Ralph here. So if you're watching, you can see that is his only job right now is to pop up and tell y'all what the episode is, and then it's gonna go away like that. So yeah. But man, just wow. First off, well, let me jump back for a minute. Want to go back to the last podcast episode I did. Very good feedback. I did get some feedback specifically that I was like, man, I have to take heed to this. And I definitely appreciate it. Shout out Jackie, I appreciate you. Um, Man, but just kind of gave me a heads up on being mindful of, when I'm kind of bringing up people's situations, and just being careful, like how I word that. So in that podcast, I talked about some of the things that I have been going through at work, as far as people that I supervise. So I'm telling you about all these things, right? And she was like, "Hey, like, just like, did you ask them if they was good?" And I was like, "Oh, no, no, no." So my intention, obviously, I didn't say names in this case, but the whole point, just in case that did offend anybody, um, the whole point of that was to really hit home. Like, man, imagine trying to keep a boat afloat, and you have all these holes at the floor of the boat with water filling up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a bunch of things as it pertains to people and their problems that I'm dealing with, and the things that you're stressing me out about, just kind of not my priority right now. And it's honestly because it can't be when I have people that literally have life and death situations going on. So that was my point. So anybody that listen to this podcast, in the future, if you work with me, I've talked to a couple people already. But if you hear it, you know what I'm saying, if you get offended or anything, let me know. You know what I'm saying? We can talk it out. We can make sure it's straight, man. It's all love my way, man. I'm love my way. But man, one of the things that I one of the things I love about this podcast is that a lot of this is, yes, some lessons I've learned from therapy. Yes, conversations I have with people about things. Um, but a lot of it, like I always say, like this is my personal, like, brain dump in between therapy and the things. And it always amazes me at the things that I talk about and how many people it resonates with. It never fails. Even when I feel like I'm not at my best, you know what I'm saying? I just, like, do something to get something out. Man, I'm telling you, if I could pull up all the episodes and be like, man, all right, so these were episodes where I was just like, nah, this was kind of trash. They're like my top 10 episodes ever downloaded in life, which is absolutely crazy. Um, but to me, it's a testament to, like, man, in this space, there's a huge space for the things, right? Um, but in this space, man, you never know who you're going to reach. You never know who you're going to impact. You never know, um, how you going through, literally going through something, you breaking through something can help somebody else, or even just give them the motivation to get jump started on doing something else. Um, Man, so that's just kind of something that's always resonated with me, uh, in this podcast space, man. So I just And I always tell people, man, every podcast episode ain't for you. Like this forum ain't for everybody. I'm 41 years old, so there's just certain things I'm just not gonna talk about. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like not that I feel like people are dumber than me, because there's actually a lot of people that are way smarter than me that I talk to every day. But I just feel like I have such an elevated way of thinking sometimes. Like I enjoy thought provoking conversation. That is just Mario's thing. Um, I try to make conversations meaningless, or not meaningless, but meaningful. I try to make them meaningful, man. I enjoy trying to take a lesson out of every conversation I have. There are tons of frivolous conversations. Don't get me wrong. Shout out to the group chat, but man, that's just kind of how I operate, man. So I'm just kind of glad that my little piece of things, still has a very broad form of listeners, which is crazy. Like to even think like, you get like the little emails about like little highlights and stuff. You hit like 10, 20, 30,000 people. And you're just like, oh my God, like that's goddamn crazy. Um, but yeah, man, so lot of things going on. Life is always like life, and like I like to say. Before I get into meat and potatoes of this for sure though, uh, got to holler at my boy Jonathan this weekend, man. One of my brothers for real, for real. It was just good to see him in his element, man, like doing the things. Got to send off one of my basketball kids. He's getting ready to go play basketball in California, so I'm super excited for him. And it was such a reminder, and this is why I tell people when I did that episode called "It's Not Your Turn." Um, a lot of what I'm about to talk about in those two situations is why I'm like this. Because life has a way of reminding me that while you're not getting what you want right now, doesn't mean that, God still ain't in the blessing business. And he might just be blessing the people around you at this moment because it's their time and it's their season to get a breakthrough for things. You know what I'm saying? So I always remind myself of that, and I try not to get too low when it comes to things in my life, because I see people around me um, who I might have influenced, who I might have helped, I might have talked to, or I'm just cool with. You know what I'm saying? I just see things that, they may be going through, or, praying for or hoping for, and then it happens for. And I'm like, man, this is my confirmation that, man, the things you want in life, they're attainable. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to, you gotta wait your turn. And it ain't always your turn. And it just wasn't my turn for a lot of things up until 2 weeks ago. So, the name of this podcast episode is, as shown by my boy Raphael over here, uh, it's called My Journey to Military Retirement. And I felt like this podcast episode was important for me. One, because I'm going to therapy tomorrow, and I know my therapist is going to ask me about this. But two, man, I did want to take a moment just to kind of share kind of what I've been going through, and kind of how this all broke down, just kind of the emotions that I felt through all the things, man. Not a lot of people I know in my civilian space, uh, like retire. Oh, hello, wife. um, a lot of people I know in my civilian space hasn't retired, right? So obviously, I know a ton of military people that have retired. So I don't know, it's different, man. And even when I tell people I'm returning, like, man, like you young, like you 41 years old, like how the hell you about to retire and call it done? So a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings, and a lot of it was predicated on things that have been going on leading up to this. Um, which is why I wanted to talk about this. Um, but let me just start a couple of months ago. Actually, feel like a couple months ago. It was a while ago. So I think back in February, um, I was talking to my wife, and we was having like real serious conversation. So I was on the the precipice of making E8 in the military. There's only 9 enlisted ranks. I was getting close to making E8. Like there's a whole lead up. Everybody was like, "Oh, Mario's gonna make it. Like he's doing the things. Boom, boom, boom." Right? And there's a situation that happened where I heard this guy speaking at this thing, and he was talking about like to him what a E8 was, like what a senior master sergeant was, and he was talking about all these things, and like it was almost like church service. Everybody was like, yeah, 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 and then the more I just started listening, I was like, nah, 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 that's not that's not that's not me. Like that's not who I am. And I really like started to sit with, man, I've never been the type of person to like lose myself to get something I want. Like you know what I'm saying? Like conforming in a way where it changes how I look at myself in the mirror, how people who respect me look at me. It's just never been my thing, right? And I don't know. I don't. There's an 8 Ball in MJG song. I talk about this several times on this podcast, but there's an 8 Ball in MJG song. Um, I believe it's called Nobody But Me, but the chorus goes, I can't be nobody with me, and that's all I can be. That's all I can be. I can't be who you want me to be, cause you know N word, that ain't me. You know what I'm saying? And that song has always stuck with me because the whole song was about, man, like me being the best version of myself, despite what other people wanted me to be or other people assumed that I was going to be. You know what I'm saying? The successes that they had in life and the things they done like that, like they did what they were destined to do. And if it stopped right there, they were okay. And like these expectations that other people put on you, like that's what you want to do. But just because you want to do it, don't mean that I have to do it. You know what I'm saying? So talking to my wife, man, I kind of made the decision. I was like, man, I think I'm done. Like I genuinely think I'm done. Like I'm ready to be done with the military. And as I had kind of like made peace with it. So the way military retirements work. So mind you, this is February. Um, you can apply for retirement in the at the beginning of your 19th year in the military. So my 19th year in the military was 1 May. So you could do it like a month after because that puts you like literally at 20 years. So the earliest I could apply for retirement was 1 June of this year. So I was like, all right. So me and Jess talked about it several times. And I finally just made a decision like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I was like, all right, I just gotta make it to 1 June without any bullshit happening. And we gonna call it good. Y'all, when I tell y'all the next week, I got orders to go off, right? Talk about throwing a curveball in my life. So this was one of those assignments that I later found out, like, it would take the whole family. Like it wasn't one of those assignments where like when I went to Turkey where I could just go by myself. You know what I'm saying? And me even bringing that up brought a whole different level of contention in my house. The whole family would have to go. And so I'm sitting here tweaking, like, hold on, man. I've been in 19 years. My whole goal is to get to retirement. I'm like, man, I'm done. I'm trying to get to 20. Just leave me alone. Well, the Air Force has this weird way of doing things, right? Let me give y'all a little behind the scenes of the Air Force, right? So I was talking to somebody that actually works in like their job is to like assign people like the places they move. And they said, man, like we do a really good job at that. And I was like, man, like what's that? He's like, man, we find people like you who are in positions where they don't have a choice but to take what's given to them or they have to turn down their retirement. So the way this whole thing works is I got this assignment to Guam, right? Mind you, I was supposed to be retiring next year, 2026. If you turn down the assignment, you have to get out when your enlistment ends, which in this case, mine was going to end the 31st of May of this year. So that means that I would have to separate in 19 years. That foregoes any kind of retirement, pension, all that stuff. Like you got out at 19 years, right? Or you take the assignment, and normally when you take an overseas assignment, it comes with like a time commitment. Sometimes 3 years, I think it's 3 or 4 years, something stupid like that. So essentially, I was stuck. And I'm just like, I can't turn this down, but if I turn it down, I got to get out in 3 months. And obviously, we don't want to do that because I want to retire in a year and make sure I get all my shit straight. So this is where I say like it's not your season, but still celebrating people. Everybody who questioned me when I made the episode, I'm gonna make sure I send them this episode so they know. Like this is why. This is why right here. In the midst of me being like, what the fuck is about to go on? Like, you know what I'm saying? My wife just started, her post military job. She's teaching in schools. You know what I'm saying? Jaden is in Oklahoma, so he's fine. But, Miles is doing the things in school. My daughter's starting the first grade or kindergarten. I'm like, dog, now I just don't want to I want to uproot everybody. When we're kind of in that phase of like, we've kind of planted roots here. Is this somewhere we want to stay? We're not sure yet, but we're not really ready to leave right now at this point. And this is where just being a good person and just understanding the importance of your season comes to play. I was having a conversation at work. There's this random lady that calls me that works in this like personnel office across base. And she goes, "Hello, is this Master Sergeant Revere?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Hey, I see you got orders to Guam." And I was like, "Unfortunately, yes." And she said, "Well, let me ask you a question. Uh, what did you plan on doing?" And I said, "Well, shit, I was trying to retire. You know what I'm saying? But y'all holding me hostage, right?" So this lady goes, "Well, hold on. I'm gonna submit like a trouble ticket kind of to see if we can get you out of this assignment and like, cancel your assignment and just let you go uh to retirement." So I'm sitting here taking a deep breath and I'm looking at my God like,
I know that ain't who I think it is.
I know that ain't you looking out for me. But appreciate you, big dog. I appreciate you. So this lady goes through this whole wicket of trying to get me to cancel this assignment, right? So I'm feeling good, man. I'm like, yeah, everything good, good. So, man, that went on for like, oh my God, like a month or two. And like it kind of just stalled. And basically, they were saying there weren't enough people at the place that I was going to turn the assignment off. Like, basically, they needed me to go to make sure I hit the average, the worldwide average for people at the place. Now, mind you, the place I was going was it was a high deployment base, and you know what I'm saying. I can't deploy right now. You know what I'm saying. The military, I've done enough. Like just because of medical stuff, mental health stuff, they won't deploy me anymore. So they're sending me to this base where people literally deploy all the goddamn time. Like people specifically in my job deploy all the time, and I'm like, this is not a good idea. Not a good idea at all. So I'm hearing all these things like the team in Guam is super excited I'm coming. I'm just like, nah, fam, this ain't it. So long story short, it got to the point where they told me, all right, so when 1 June comes, you have to apply for retirement. Like you basically have to show proof that this is what you want to do. Because a lot of people do this to when they don't want an assignment. They'll say, "Oh, I'm going to retire." They'll turn the assignment off, but then the person won't retire, so it just fucks everybody in the back end. So they wanted me to show proof. Go in, apply for the retirement, call it good. 1 June comes around, boom. I think I was in. Oh, where was I at? I think it was in Vegas. 1 June, boom, hit the button in Vegas. Then went on to win like $3,000. It was a good week. So this shit is going through the wickets. And I'm getting frustrated because the closer we get, my job was supposed to be there next month in September. The closer we get, I'm getting these emails from people saying, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that." Like, man, people are literally preparing for me to be gone in my head. I'm just like, listen, I'm out this hole. I got people trying to give me information on realtors, trying to get me to buy people's houses. I'm like, dog, I ain't going. Like this ain't happening, big dog. Like it's not happening. So, man, the past 2 months have been arguably the hardest 2 months of my military career. And a lot of it, I'm trying to see how careful I want to go with this. Do I just want to full send it? Because now I realize like there's a lot of people at my job that listen to this podcast. And then they'll like no shit when they hear this, they're gonna be in my office tomorrow. But let's just say this. When it comes to accountability and things like that, like I'm not above it, right? I do feel like there's a way that you go about doing things. Like I've said before, like, like how you make people feel is important, right? I ain't never really been in no big trouble in my military career. This is like the first time it was like under microscope because I didn't have like some stuff done. It wasn't even no life threatening shit, right? But man, just a lot of backdoor meetings, conversations about me. You know what I'm saying? Just little slick conversations, like people coming to me. And this is what I think people fail to realize. Like when you're an influencer, and not like a social media influence, but when you have the ability to influence a group of people, man, you have a lot of allies in a lot of situations. And when things are said about you, man, people go out their way to make sure you know who said it, why they said it, and how they said it. So a lot of things that were coming back to me just out of nowhere that like people were saying, everybody knew it wasn't about them. They knew it was about me because I wasn't around. And for some reason, people get real comfortable like saying off the wall shit when I ain't around. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm there, like what they said changes, or they leave like bits and pieces of stories out. So I'm like, man, in my head, I'm just laughing like, nah, say what you said when you was, you know what I'm saying? So it just been a lot of tension and turmoil with like my leadership team, and just a lot of transition that happened. Everybody is kind of trying to figure out what's what. And if you've heard this podcast before, I always talk about needing a win. And I'm like, man, in the midst of all this happening, man, I got people getting promoted, people winning awards, like all these things are happening. And I'm just like, man, even though I come home every day and I'm down in the dumps, I'm going to my therapist, ready to air people out. Like things are still happening. Like positive things are still happening. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, as shitty as this is right now, there's still a God that's in the blessing business, right? And man, I never forget 2 weeks ago. It was on a Friday. I got everybody out the clinic, man. I'm just like, all right, I'm getting ready to go home. I was away from my office a while. I was like, man, let me check my email real quick. Check my email real quick. Boom, first email I see. Congratulations on your approved retirement, right? So like, man, it's like I was telling my boy Lark, man, shout out to Polo. Like I was like, man, I remember when Kobe won his first NBA title. And like the first thing I did was close the door and just start crying. And I was like, man, it was like it was a culmination of a lot of things. Like I was happy that my retirement was approved. Like the end is near. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a stopping point. I have a finish line. Nobody can take that from me, regardless of what happens for the next 8, 9 months. Like nobody can take away. Like that's it for me. Like that's it. But then a lot of it was, I think, me just really like head on, just kind of facing like a lot of the things I had been going through at work. You know what I'm saying? Just the switch ups and like how people are. You know what I'm saying? Like people, it's kind of weird, man. It's just I don't really hang with people at work. Just to be honest with you, I don't. And I think it's because I'm in a leadership position. But I know military people, man. Military people are very transactional. Like, what have you done for me lately? How can you help me? And once you do that, they don't fuck with you no more. So I'm very careful about breaking bread and like spending like intimate time with people at work. Work is work. We go home. I do my thing with my people, my crew, my team, and we out. Like we do the things. Um, so I think just me being in this transition of kind of just taking a step back from a lot of things. A lot of people that I know that I probably won't continue relationships with when I get out of the military, just because of just certain positions you in, there certain people you got to deal with, and that's just how I am. You know what I'm saying? Just let me start disassociating myself. I'm bringing in people who are gonna replace me and all that. So there was just a lot of emotion about the things, and man, like once it kind of and I don't even honestly, I don't even think it was still settled to this point. Um, but once it kind of hit me, like, man, I think I told my wife one day just random, I was like, man, I'm really retiring. Like, this is crazy. And like, I had to start taking a look back. Ginka, I know you're gonna listen to this, but I had to celebrate myself for a second. And like, I just started thinking about like back when I joined, and like, I don't think I ever could imagine in life, like, where what this whole thing would have, where this military career took me, right? And when I retire, like when I'm done, I'm gonna do like a final like episode. You know what I'm saying? So and once I'm done with that, you'll never hear me talk about the military again. So a lot of this you might hear twice. But man, just the people I've met, the people I've taken care of, the places I've been, the countries I've been, the things I've seen, the things I can't talk about yet till I'm retired. But the opportunities, man, just the friendships that I made, like people who I'm legitimately, will be cool for the rest of my life. But then you start thinking about like, the highs and the lows and how much I've grown as a person, how much the military has like it has changed how I lead people. And even like man, like the military and coaching like parallel each other so much. Because I lead 54 people right now. But obviously when I'm coaching basketball, my AAU team is like 8, 9 people. Then, you know what I'm saying? It's my basketball team. There's 15 people that I'm talking to the different JV and varsity or JV and freshman kids. So it's like 50 more people. And like I have just learned so much about myself as a person and how important it is to like set an example. The importance of making a first impression in order to set the example, like how to set a culture and those things. Um, and it really kind of like took me back on like this whole journey. And I think 20 years ago, if you would have asked little old Mario, man, you think you'll be in this for 20 years? I probably say, hell no, man. Like, I just I don't know. It just the military really does. For some people, it does give them a lot of structure, and organization, and I feel like the military did that for me at a decent time. Now, mind you, I was in college. I did have a plan for the most part. I was an athletic trainer. I was doing the things I knew what I wanted to do. But man, just the way like life happens, and I feel like everything happens for a reason. My grandmother got sick. She had her leg amputated. And, me coming home and, taking care of her and just really falling in love with the process of being a servant leader. You know what I'm saying? Um, Being able to take care of people in their time of need and like it not even bothering me. Like it just coming like second nature to me. And like watching how that's manifested to um deployments where I'm literally helping people in not so good situations, man. I'm watching people take their last breaths. I'm watching people not be here 1 minute and then we doing CPR for 5, 10 minutes in their back. And they're functioning right now. Like, I mean, it is a wild undertaking to think that like 20 years ago, if you asked me if I would have went through all that stuff, I would tell you like, man, hell no, I'm out, man. But here we are. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, life just has a weird way of playing Uno with you, man. Where you think you laying all your cards down, and then next thing you know, boom, here comes a draw four, here comes a draw two, here comes a skip, and like you have to start pivoting to the things that happen. But what you don't understand is that all of those things have a divine purpose in your life. Every obstacle, every setback, all those things, man, all those things have play a huge part in like the trajectory of where you're gonna go, and not just retirement, but just in life, man. It molds the kind of person that you're gonna be, the kind of person that you became, and the kind of person that you're gonna become in the future. And I think the hardest part as humans sometimes is we struggle with adjustment. Like we like to fight change, and I'm a huge listen. I hate change. I hate it, especially if something's working. Like I don't feel like you should like keep smoothing things over and redoing them. Changing good to better, as my wife always says. Some shit just good as how it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool with a lot of shit. Um, as it is. Like everything doesn't require this massive overhaul. to things. But that's kind of how my initial look back on the things, man. Like I said, I'll get into way more detail as I get ready to retire. Um, but I think the other part of it, and this is kind of where I am now, there's joy. Obviously, there's excitement. I think my level of not giving a fuck at work anymore is starting to increase because I'm just like, just with things going on at the end of the day, I'm like, man, I'm leaving anyway. Like I heard this guy say, they can't keep me here forever, and it's just always stuck in my head. I'm just like, you can't keep me here forever. Like I'm bouncing. Like regardless of how mad, happy, glad you are, I'm bouncing. Like regardless, you know what I'm saying. So I think when it comes to a lot of things, obviously, like I said, the joy, the excitement, the things are cool. But then I start getting sad a little bit, man, and I think about a lot of the people that I've helped get promoted, or what I'm saying, just go through things in their life. A lot of like the younger kids that I've um supervised when they came in, like they're buying their first house, they're getting married, they're having kids, and like watching them all grow up, and just having them come out of my office, and they're just like, man, like I'm happy for you, but man, I'm kind of upset that you're getting out because who I'm gonna talk to, you know what I'm saying? Who's gonna be my mentor? Like who's gonna do the thing? So it really started having me thinking, like, man, did I get out at the right time? Like, am I doing shit the right way? And I remember asking my wife that, like, man, did you have ever have second thoughts? Because her situation was a little different from mine. Like she legit could have made E9, and she walked away from like a primo situation where, what I'm saying, doing so probably would have had us move two or three more times, just to be honest. Um, obviously increased stress and like things like that. So there's a lot of things. I mean, the margin of pay would have been a little better, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things a lot of perks that came with it. But then, like, she had to have the realization. I remember her telling me, just like, man, like people still call me. They can call me, they can text me, they can email me. Like my influence doesn't just stop because I take off the uniform. And at the end of the day, at some point, there is going to come a time where you have to walk away. Like you have to start doing things for yourself. I remember my wife was in the same situation like 2 years before she actually retired, where she had job offers. There was things she wanted to do, and we went back and forth on that a lot about what she needed to do. And she ended up staying in, and then she ended up getting, I guess you would call it a better situation. But seeing how she's thrived so far, it's like, man, I don't know if that opportunity would have been there 2 years ago if you wouldn't, let this pass and go by. So I think there comes a point mentally where you have to accept those things. Like, all right, I have to do what's best for me first and foremost. And being in the military sometimes that is very hard because, one of our, especially in the Air Force, like one of our core values is service before self, where you're literally taught to put the needs and the wants, heavy on the needs of the Air Force, over your own. You know what I'm saying? Like your individualism, none of that shit matters. Like, here's what the mission is. Here's what we need to get done. This is your priority over everything. We can call you right now in the middle of the night and say, pack your bag, we going here, which literally just happened, like to a group of people. But like, you have to make sure that your personal life is in order because we can do this at any moment, anytime, any place. And you go from that mentality to the closer you get to 20, like now you gotta kind of put self before service because now you gotta, all right, well, do I want to stay here? Do I want to move? How do my kids feel? How's my spouse feel? Like, what do I want to do when I grow up? Is this the same kind of job I want to do? Like and it's hard sometimes to turn that switch off because you're in the mix of doing all the things at work still, which is kind of why I'm a little indifferent on always, just nonetheless, that's a conversation for another time. Um, so I kind of started looking at this as like a military mindset. Like this is kind of a new mission for me. Now I'm a firm believer in when you close one door, or when you close one chapter of your life, like you open up the other one and you never go back to the other chapter. Like I'm not one of those people that still talks about like the time I scored 20 points in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a great time in my life, but boom. Then I went to college, did the things there. Boom, that was cool. Then I joined the Air Force. I'm doing all these things, and once I'm done, boom, and then you know what I'm saying? We're in a new part of our life. So I think once I started to make peace with that, like I was like, all right, mentally, physically, I'm not in a position where I can do my job at a level that I feel like is sufficient. So first and foremost, like when we even got there, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the things that genuinely give me joy to put the uniform every day, I'm not able to do anymore. You know what I'm saying? I've deployed 7 times. And I've just been to some not so great places, but I've done some great things for some people. And that takes a lot out of you, like mentally and physically. It takes a lot out of you. And me being kind of an empath, when I'm quickly learning about myself is that I'm an empath. Um, man, like emotionally, like man, you carry a lot of burden and guilt and things like that when you're in situations that are like life or death. And everybody don't, you might walk out the room, but the person you taking care of won't. So I think it's really difficult to look at things from that aspect. You know what I'm saying? But I had to make peace with all of this. I'm like, man, like this is, once this is done, like I'm done. And I want to look forward to what the rest of life looks like. So then like these things that start happening, right? So, I'm coaching basketball, and, you know, the guy that I coach with, like his goal for now until he fires me. But he said that this is his last coaching job, and his goal, like his vision, is when he retires, is to give me this program. Like he wants me to be the head coach, run the program, do the things, right? And that's a huge undertaking because I'm like this dude. I'm like the ultimate assistant coach. I tell people I might be the greatest high school varsity assistant coach in the country right now. Just because I'm able to pick and choose my spots. I know where to lead. I know where to follow. Like there isn't too many things that he needs done that I haven't already thought of or done. I don't know what's wrong with my neck, but like man, it just like it's such a humbling lesson because I'm an E7. Like I walk in the room, people stand up. Like you know what I'm saying? Like whatever I say, people are gonna listen to. But now it's very different. You know what I'm saying? Like I take a leadership role when we walk outside the office, but when we're in the office, I'm very much in a follower role. Like I'm giving my opinion on things and how they working. Sometimes he takes my advice, sometimes he don't. But that's okay. Like that's a part of the whole team dynamic. So I'm looking at those things, and then we're talking about where our kids want to go to school next year, and then I start thinking about little things like, man, like I want to be able to do regular civilian shit. Let me just tell y'all this, like a lot of the things that y'all do, I don't realize. I know you take them for granted, but you don't understand. Like it just seemed like a normal part of your routine. But like, one of the things I'm looking forward to, like next year, man, like I want to get up in the morning and like make my kids breakfast and drive them to school. Like I don't know if that's weird to people or not, but like, cause I know most of y'all listening, that's what y'all do. Like that's your thing. But like, I want to be able to do that and not have to worry about coming home to pack a bag because I'm deploying at the end of the week. Or I gotta go on a work trip, so I'm gonna be gone for 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's legitimate. Like every day I wanna get up. I wanna yell at my kids about making sure they up and on time and ready to eat breakfast. I wanna have sing-alongs going to school. Like man, like as a military person, mind you, some people do have the privilege of doing this, but I haven't. But like those are things you don't typically get to do because you're always in a rush. Like everything, we always have this thing called hurry up and wait. Like everything is get there, get there, get there, then it stops. So it's just like, man, for 19, about to be 20 years, man, I've always just like kind of hurried up and just waited. All I gotta do is let me get the kids out the door, let me boom, boom, boom. Hey, get up, go do this. I can't afford to come back and take you because I gotta do this. You know what I'm saying? So, but now just being able to just breathe, just wake up, fart, brush my teeth, wash my face, make the kids some pancakes, little happy face pancakes, something stupid, and then be able to take them to school and speak life into them. Like those like little things are what I look forward to, man. And I just feel like the way the way my demeanor changed, the way my attitude changes, you know what I'm saying? It was almost instant. Like people would come out my office and they could see like something happen, like something positive happen. And I was like, man, I just started realizing that a lot of the things that I stress about at work, a lot of the things that I'm currently stressing about at work, man, in a little bit, that's gonna be over. So like, I don't want to walk out the door disgruntled or angry. I never want to be in a position where I hate the military. I don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, thank God that they approved my retirement because I don't know how much more I would have been able to take. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and man, that makes me happy because I know every day I walk in, I always used to make this joke. People like, "What's up, Mario? How you doing?" I'm like, every day is one day closer to retirement, and now, but that's really real now. Every day is one day closer to me getting up, taking my kids to school, taking my daughter to the second grade. Hell, I might even be a part of the PTA program if I'm feeling froggy. You know what I'm saying? Give out little ice creams on meet the teacher. I don't know. I'll find some stupid shit to do to be in my kids' face and they be like, man, there go my dad doing the things. But like those are the kind of things that I look forward to doing. Um, so if you're in the military, honestly, I would just say like if you're pondering retirement anywhere, um, make sure you start prioritizing yourself. Like this is a very emotional journey for a lot of reasons, whether you're happy or whether you're sad, depending on where you fall um on the spectrum with things. But just always remember, man, the grass may not be greener on the other side, but you're about to get an opportunity to be a part of that grass and help water it. You know what I'm saying? So understanding that like it's gonna be hard breaking away, moving on from people and groups that you've worked with or dealt with for so long. But I think like many of us adults understand, man, I've done like millions of retirement ceremonies, right? Because people always ask me to like narrate or MC their retirement ceremonies. And I've done so many of these things, man. And one thing rings very true. When you're done, they're gonna celebrate you. We're gonna have an amazing going away retirement ceremony for you. People gonna hug you, take selfies with you, give you gifts, all the things, tell you how awesome you are. But you know what happens the next day? Life goes on. You'll go to work. There'll be somebody in your chair. There'll be a new little thing. Hey, this person's in charge now. And they're going to do things maybe totally different from how you did. People are going to come and go. And eventually they're going to go from, man, like Sergeant Revere was the most amazing, blah, blah, blah. Or he was the worst person ever. To like, hey, what was that guy's name that used to work here a couple years ago? And I think once you start to realize that, man, in this thing called life, we really are just a number to like a bunch of people. Like we're a means to an end. We're an opportunity to get something done. We're we're the person that's helping somebody else become rich or somebody else to become successful. And part of that is getting what you need to get out of whatever the deal is and understanding when to go and when to stay, if that's an option for you. So I say all that to say this, man, just to bring this home, because I really did this podcast because 9 months from now, I'm going to sit down and listen to this to see if my energy is still the same. You know what I'm saying? Like this next couple of weeks will be interesting. I think once I make it out this next like week or two, I'll be all right. But we'll see how it goes. Um, but I'll tell you, man, as I kind of prepare to close this chapter and step into what's next for me. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that may be. I'm grateful for so many lessons, so many challenges, the people I've been alongside, all those things, man. Like, but I do think it's important to understand, and this is kind of what I think about every day. Like, the military shaped a lot of who I am, but the military doesn't define who I am, if that makes sense. Um, and I mean that in every aspect of whether you're in the military or not, like your job, like what you've done, you do something for 20 years. I don't care what you are attached to that. I don't know too many people that have hated their job every day for 20 years. It might be possible, but like that job doesn't define who you are. And that's why it's so important to close that chapter and start a new one because your purpose in life, that was just a step. Like this was just, man. This was my new purpose 20 years ago. I got on the bus, hopped on the plane to San Antonio. This was my purpose. My purpose was to be here 20 years from now. And in that 20 years, to deliver the best health care I could to as many people as I could. For to allow God to put me in situations where I could be an example to people to be better than themselves. For people who, you know what I'm saying, God put me in a position where I can handle seeing people every day at their worst. Because people never come to the hospital in a good mood. I always come to see people at their worst. And if I did my job right, most times they'll be walking out feeling a little better. You know what I'm saying? So understanding that you still have a purpose, you still have a mission. It just looks very, very different on how you do the things that you do now. So if you don't remember anything else I tell you in this podcast, even if you've been working a job that you hate, you know what I'm saying, just kind of going through the motions. Maybe it pays well, so it pays the bills and it alleviates a lot of stress. Just remember, every journey has a purpose. Every single journey has a purpose. And maybe, just maybe, you're there for a reason. Maybe that job, that situation is propelling you to something that's going to be greater later. And you have to go through the good, the bad, and the ugly of this current situation to prepare you for what's next. Every job ain't pretty. Every job ain't fun. I think when you understand that, especially as a man or, as a family, you understand these are my priorities. These are the things I have to do to make shit shake. But man, every journey has a purpose. And I think if you kind of keep that in the back of your mind, it'll keep you a little sane. Who knows what the hell that journey looks like? I don't know. But I do know this, man. I've had so many great chapters of my life. And I'm excited to close this next one, but I'm more excited to begin this next one. Um, yeah, that's all I got, man. I really just wanted to get this one off. Like I said, I have a lot of mixed emotions when it comes to retiring, but by and large, man, a lot of the things that I'm excited about doing are centered around spending more time with my family, man. And man, you think about I'm thinking about all the things I miss, man. Like my daughter, it's my last baby. You know what I'm saying? Ain't having no more kids. That's it. But I wasn't able to be here for her first steps because I had to deploy to Africa. Um, my kid's first day of school, like missed those things. You know what I'm saying? I remember when Maya was sick. You know what I'm saying? She being fed out of a tube. I couldn't be here to take care of her. You know what I'm saying? So just watching like how my wife stood in the gap for so many situations. And I think even to this day, we gonna talk about this one day because she ain't never really talked about it for real, for real. But you know, just seeing her be strong for my kids when I know that this wasn't fun. I can't imagine like, oh, I went through it once and it sucked. But I can't imagine doing that six more times. And having to deal with the where's daddy and the emotions. You got kids that are growing and you're trying to keep them involved in all the things and you're trying to keep work sane. You got to come home and make sure they got a hot meal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and having to do that over and over and over and over and still some kind of way have to smile and keep a face on. Man, that shit, man, it takes a different kind of person to be married to a military person. And I think a lot of people assume because you're in the military and you're married to a military person that it's easier. And goddamn, that couldn't be farther from the truth. Um, my wife still experienced the same stressors. I feel like everything that could go wrong goes wrong when you deploy. I swear to God, it could be everything. Um, but man, just watching how resilient my kids were to, up and move six times. You know what I'm saying? Just starting new, moving to brand new states that we ain't never lived in, don't know anybody, having to go to a new school. 2.5 years later, we up and moving again, and still being able to flourish and do the things, man. It's just so many sacrifices you don't. I think normal people don't think about when it comes to military people, man. It's more than just deployments, man. But like literally, you think about it, man. We like uproot our whole family. I'm gonna never forget, man. We uprooted our family out of Illinois and moved to North Dakota. Didn't know a single soul there. All we knew is it was cold as hell. And like just all of us being able to adapt to the situation, understanding we couldn't get out of it, but we made the best out of it. And I feel like that has made all of us like stronger people, man. Cause I don't know nobody that intentionally gonna move to North Dakota, especially when your ass from Atlanta. Shit crazy. But yeah, man, that's all I got, man. Thank y'all for listening, man. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, man. Definitely follow the YouTube page, man. Trying to get these little funky ass followers and views up on YouTube, man. But man, I tell you what, oh my God, where's my phone? Man, somebody told me one day, and they said, Mario, like I love listening to your podcast when I'm going to work. And I was talking to somebody and they was like, man, I drive like 45 minutes, like to and from work. And it's like the best time to listen to your podcast, you know? And I'm like, man, like, thank you. But I realized like a lot of people listen while they're commuting, which I'm like, okay, interesting. That's why the whole YouTube thing was always wild to me for a while. Cause I'm like, man, like, I don't know if people gonna want to look at my bald head ass, you know what I mean? But you look at these kicks now. But like, nah, so just the amount of listeners I've got over the past like 3 months, which is crazy. Like there are people listening to episodes that I've done years ago, which is even crazy to think that I've been podcasting for like 3 years now. But man, just the amount of people that heard this from somebody else or I had a conversation with somebody. I never forget I was in a store one day and this lady saw my shirt and she was like, "Are you on YouTube?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, YouTube." Blah 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 blah. And she ended up like listening to an episode, like left a comment on my iTunes thing, like left a little feedback thing, and like just has become a regular listener off of just my little stupid little T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? I'm real big on. I ain't gonna lie. Most of the time, I only wear like my podcast shirt. I wear Adrian shirt. Like, I'm telling you, that boy. Well, I don't know what kind of cotton that is you got in that one shirt, but man, I wear that damn shirt all the time. It's my the softest shirt I got. But yeah, man, I just like I'm like, man, if I'm before I wear somebody else shit, I'm gonna wear my own shit, and it's just really interesting. And I remember Adrian used to talk about this a lot. Man, it's just really interesting how people can stop you and just have like small talk conversations about a T-shirt. And like it's a great time to sell yourself because who better to sell yourself than you? So, I always love talking to people and explaining to them what the podcast is about. And I always end with, hey, every episode ain't for you. I can promise you that. But what I can also promise you is there'll be at least one episode that will resonate with you and it'll change the way you either think or do things on a daily basis. I can guarantee that. And it really has been a blessing, man. Like I kind of know what some of my friends go through, and they're like, man, like some days you just kind of want to hang it up, but then like you kind of get the itch back, and you're just like, man, you have people messaging you like, hey, it's been like 2 weeks, cuz like what the hell going on? You know what I'm saying? So you know, unfortunately and fortunately, life always gives me great lessons to keep talking about, and yeah, as long as life keeps lifing, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have something to talk about. So but yeah, keep sharing with your friends, man, whether it's YouTube, um, iTunes, Spotify, all that shit, man. Um, thank y'all. Hey, thank y'all. That's all I can say, man. The only reason I keep going strong, cause A, I ain't done with therapy yet, and B, people keep getting something out of this. So we gonna keep it rocking and rolling until then. So, man, thank y'all for listening. I love y'all. Keep making memories. Make good decisions, and to all my people retiring, cause it's a bunch of y'all. It's a bunch of us retired next year. Congratulations, man. And any kind of lessons or anything I learned from people, I'll happily share it to them. But make sure you're taking time for yourself and preparing yourself and your family for the transition you're about to make outside the uniform. Love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Be easy.